In this tutorial we're going to cover multiple characters. Endorphin allows you to add many characters to a scene and have them all interacting with one another. So in this tutorial we're going to add additional characters to the scene and then initiate the interaction between those characters. First of all, we're going to load a character and apply a martial arts kick to him, and then add another character and apply a run in a straight line animation to him, and then have the two characters interact. To begin with, we want to delete the standard character, so select him on the timeline and click delete. Now go to add character and we want to browse and go to our tutorial directories, tutorial 9, using multiple characters, and click OK. Now we want to use audio motion 2 character, so we now have that character in the scene. We want to load some animation onto him. We select him in the timeline, click import and go to tutorials folder, tutorial 9 again, and here we have martial idle to side kick. So let's load that in. I'm going to select the hips, that is the root of the character. Then in the auto motion transfer section, turn it on and then go to browse and select auto motion 2 as our reference character, click OK, and then leave all the other settings as default, click OK to load that motion in. So that's going to now dynamically transfer the motion from our reference character onto our simulation character, and now we have our simulation character performing our karate kick. Now while the character is grayed out like this, that means that he's outside of the simulation. He is being driven by the animation, but he is in a mode called no simulation, so he will not be affected by the simulation but will not affect anything else within the simulation as well. So what we want to do for this example is change that mode so that he is going to still be driven by the animation but be able to affect characters that are within the simulation. So we do that by selecting the simulation event and then in the mode changing it to collision with momentum. And now when I simulate, you can see that he's still grayed out but a slightly different grey representing this different mode. Now to load in our second character, we just go to add character again and choose audio motion 1. Select him on the timeline, click import and go to AM run, and in the auto motion transfer section choose audio motion 1. Select hips as the root of the character, leave everything else as default and click OK. So now when I simulate, we now have both characters being controlled by the animation. But as you can see, the run is going in the wrong direction. We want him to run into the kick. So first of all we need to select the animation and rotate it round. So I can do that here, 180. He's now going to run in the opposite direction. So to get him into the right place, I can manually move it into the viewport, or I could indeed modify these numbers in the property editor as well. So I'm going to do that now. For the Z position, I want to put it to 3.869, and for the X position, minus 0.068. So now when I simulate, the character is going to be coming in the right direction and in the right place, but as you can see he passes straight through the kick. So to change that now, I can change the simulation event so that the character is going to go into the simulation at the right point and be affected by this character's motion. So at this frame here I select the simulation event and change the timing of the transition so he now goes into the simulation at that frame there. So now when I simulate, the character gets the full force of that kick. So to get our character looking more realistic now, we can add a couple of behaviors on to bring him to life within the simulation. So I can do that, right click on the timeline, go create behavior, and here I want to use the ride behavior. bring that down, so I only want it to be applied for a small amount of time there, and then afterwards I'll apply another behavior and go with catch fall, so he's going to actually try and reach out and adaptively put his arms out so that he reaches down onto the ground. And I'm going to stretch that out to continue for the end of the animation. So now when I simulate, the character looks more alive when he gets hit, falls down onto the ground and keeps his head off the ground there. So at this point here you could then experiment with moving the animation of the run around to get different effects, try out different behaviors, indeed different parameters of the behaviors to get exactly the kind of animation that you'd want.